All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pin post, home post on the video, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if a boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably most likely bringing in piece from the entire intent spectrum, way over on the left, highest intent, way over on the right, lowest intent. If a boudoir photography business is falling, they're missing at least one cohort, or at least probably two cohorts as well from this intent spectrum. Now, way over on the left, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But way on the left, that's what we're talking about here. These videos, talking about the highest intent people searching for boudoir photo shoots right now in our, right in our city, searching on social media, searching on Google. And way over on the left, the lowest intent people, that's our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a unique niched problem. And we actually, with that brand, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So now onward. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page, page 2 or deeper. That's gonna be a fast death for our business, because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. And so if we're stuck on page 0, that's a fast track to death. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's not good enough either, because then we're looking the same as all the other boudoir photographers, probably going to be none other boudoir photographers. So buyers just going to click and open up everybody's link, get a quote from everyone, price shop everyone. Whereas 80% of those buyers, the bulk that we care about, would never even go to page 2. So even on page 1, we're still getting super, super, super price shopped. Now 0 or 1 slots on page 1 in Google is not normal. It's an extremely small number. It's normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google, extremely, extremely, extremely common though. People are accepting of it being common because people do not know about the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, the market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Someone's getting a new iPhone, they're throwing up on Google My Business profile and Google Maps. They got their website app, trying to rank page 1 for boudoir photographer. And so more supply. Same with someone's getting a new camera, and then they're talking, they're posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that, saying they offer boudoir shoots now as well. Again, another increase in supply. And COVID was a big, massive supply shock of boudoir photographers, because a lot of people lost their jobs. People still need to earn money though. Everyone's got a phone with basically everyone's got a phone with a super powered camera. So offering boudoir photo shoots even for new peeps was, kind of an easy in. And as a result, super increased the supply of boudoir photographers. And if there's the same number of buyers remained, then then it's going to be harder and harder for sellers to make the same amount of money. Now, false belief of page 1 equality, this, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. What this is boudoir photographers saying, all right, I got 1 slot on page 1 here on my website, and some other boudoir photographers came in, entered the marketplace, got their website ranked higher than mine. So, pushing me down to page 2, but that's simply how it is. Hopefully one of them deletes their websites and maybe Google will put me back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible on page 2. Approximately 80% of searchers never even get to me. And, just kind of letting those things happen. That's a false belief. Google actually will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we put in the effort to acquire. And Google wants to give us those slots. I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new methodology I developed. Now, final piece here on the left side, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. So left side of our universe, disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, that's because, if we got BSS, we're either 0 1 slot on page 1. So basically, we're either on page 2 of Google, which means we're definitely disappearing. Approximately 80% of searches never even get to page 2. And if we're on page 1, then, and we only got 1 slot, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're being price shopped to death, and we're actually, disappearing as well. And so, a disappearing boudoir photographer, having BSS, this is the canary in the coal mine, kind of warning flag, the warning light, check engine light going on, saying, hey, we are on a path now to actually lose for the boudoir photography business itself to disappear. But luckily, we now have a solution. So that solution, we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And when we treat, so we invented this, so that's how I know it works. It's exactly what the name is, social search saturation. We're saturating social search. And for the highest intent keywords. And basically, it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. When we saturate social search, there's like the small streams, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. They actually flow into the Amazon River. And with the Amazon River, what actually happens is they all converge to the Amazon River. That's like conversion on page 1 of Google. Now, this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually allows them to overcome market saturation extremely quickly. The only one other option would be, actually having a well-known brand. That takes, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI's here, coming to take people's jobs, and we got to max rank as fast as possible, as there's a whole bunch of boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. So, SQ methodology, yeah, it is the only thing I've seen for boudoir photographers that successfully enables them to fight back and overcome market saturation. I mean, imagine if there's a million boudoir photographers in San Francisco, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website competing to be page 1 on Google. And what actually happens is we max out our S-cubed methodology, literally basically do it as max as possible. And as a result, we're getting like the first 300 slots on social search, first 300 slots on Google search. And when we do that, whenever any buyer searches for Google or, on Google or social search, high intent keywords for boudoir photo shoot in their city, we're basically the only one they find for the first 300 slots. And, we essentially pushed all the competition down to slots 301 or later. So on Google, it's 10 organic slots per page, and 10 organic slots per page is, that's 30 pages we're taking up. Buyers essentially got to go to page 31 to even find out that we are, to find out our competitors. So obviously, whose business is growing in this scenario? Ours, because we saturated basically kind of everywhere they can look. So again, this SQL methodology is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to successfully escape markets or successfully grow in spite of market saturation, kind of no matter how many boudoir photographers are out there. That happens relatively quickly. Brand, dude, takes like 5 to 10 years. So we ain't got no time to build brand right now. Now, one tree with SQL methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And kind of an initial bonus benefit we get from this is every new slot we take on page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So when we do that, when we make them invisible, we know that literally 80% of boudoir photographers or searchers do literally never go to page 2. So if we kick them onto page 2, off page 1, on page 2, deeper, they're effectively invisible to approximately 80% of the market. So that's an extra immediate benefit. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So when we get that, we have the GBC recommended minimum of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google search page 1. because there's 3 out of 10 slots. A lot of boudoir photographers, most of them will be at 1 out of 10. So when the buyer's scrolling down Google and they're seeing us with a massive number of boudoir photo shoots, or basically kind of with our option, then what actually happens is we're going to be seen as like super awesome solution. People are going to be wondering, why Google is recommending us 3 different times and everyone else only once. So that's why we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum is 3. And as we actually increase, some boudoir photographers rarely will actually have two slots on page 1. So we actually want to hit those. And, when we hit those, we want to, or when they hit those, our 3 out of 10 slots will actually still overpower them. So it's essentially taking care of all scenarios. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. We finally have a solution, thankfully. S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now here are my results from using S-cubed methodology when I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So basically I wanted to rank for this keyword. So I already know, use S-cubed methodology. So we got me, organic slot Instagram here. Organic slot page 1. Organic slot page 2. Organic slot page 3. Slot 4. I mean, not page 1, page 2. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. Then we got slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we literally got slot 10, or we got 9 out of 10 slots, and we achieved this with only 10 days utilizing our S-cubed methodology. So these are my results I've gotten for it. Now, all right, main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. I was going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check out here. Let's see. All right, we got 1. Boom, nice. City's always harder than local. So all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done the your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you saw you either had 0, 1 slots on Google page 1 for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So now you can you freed your mind to actually look for a solution to take as many slots Google page 1 as possible, and you're realizing, wow, S-cubed methodology, perfect. That's the only solution for me. It's exactly what I've been waiting for. You're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search. You actually doubly like the second initial benefit, kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, making them invisible to approximately 8% of the market by putting them on page 2 or deeper. And you're also looking ahead because you understand market saturation. You're like, wait, AI is taking more people's jobs right now. Last time that happened with COVID, tons of new boudoir photographers enter the market. So you're already understanding way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market as AI gets better and better, takes more and more people's jobs. And you're realizing that you not only need these slots, you got to fortify your position on page 1 by having actually so many links that Google wants to rank on page 1, but you've already taken up so many slots that Google actually starts putting your page one worthy links and filling up page 2, 3, and 4, because you realize you actually need to essentially prevent all your other competing boudoir photographers currently in your city from ever ranking on page one, and definitely prevent any of the future boudoir photographers that come after AI takes their jobs from ever ranking on page one. So you realize, and you actually got to fortify your position there. And as a result, you're saying, okay, how do I get so many links in a short time frame to actually achieve this? And you realize, okay, SQ methodology is the only solution to do that. You also understand SQ methodology is building up basically these invisible thematic keyword columns, plugged in, attached to your brand, and kind of like in the back end cyberspace and the internet, attached to your brand name, business name, website name, your personal name, all your social handles, and there's a big cloud of who you are. And we're building up this like back end AI keyword mindshare, all plugged into this cloud of your brand and who you are. And every day we build up, add more and more columns, fortify, build those columns out. It actually increases the probability we are recommended here as the one premium option for AI overview and search, which is the most premium placement, and we cannot buy this with ads. And you also understand in parallel to increase the probability that the chat, the AI search apps, AI chat apps actually increase the probability you recommended there too. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot. You understand that? Okay, higher chance you'd be recommended there. Last time I searched for a boudoir photographer in a city, there's a ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then went and did manual searches on Google and Facebook, and I found about 60 of them. So we definitely need any possible way to get recommended this AI search. And what we found is the highest probability solution that provides that is, again, SQ methodology, because it's building up these invisible thematic keyword columns. And so you're liking all those feature benefits. You're also liking future benefit of SQ methodology can help you build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than traditional methods. That's a cool feature benefit as well. And do you understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city? So you actually likely can get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits, enabling you to build up kind of this large, massive back end, this large gap in links that are out there that Google wants to rank on page one, and also these future kind of this back end AI keyword mindshare momentum for all these AI chat systems and AI overview recommendations. And you've decided because of that, you're going to be the first mover, first one in your city to adopt this, because you understand the converse. If one of your competitors were to sign on with me first, they would actually get these benefits. They begin all these links and backup links throughout page 1, 2, 3, 4. They would be kicking you off page 1 to page 2 or deeper, making you invisible to approximately 80% of the market. They'd be basically building up this back-end AI keyword mindshare, massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And so for you to compete, you would actually have to increase, or first you'd have to rederive SQ methodology. Well, actually derive it for the first time. And once you did that, you would then have to actually execute it every day, equal to us. And if you did that, then you're simply maintaining the gap because we're executing every day as well. So the gap is remaining the same. And so for you to actually make any progress, you'd have to double or triple our output to then start pulling that, back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum away from me and your competitor, back to yourself. And again, you would never be 100% confident you've even derived the system correctly in the first place. And so it would hard to be even put in the effort to outwork us 2 to 3x. And after all that, you realize, and screw that, I ain't got 80 hours to do all this, worry about all this stuff, 80 hours per day. So you decide you're simply going to be a first mover in your city and just not miss out on this opportunity, and simply, simply go first so you don't miss out. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so DMs are currently closed, so you cannot work with us even if you wanted to. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.